Sanibonani babukeli, sesifikile thina nentandokazi yohlelo enilithanda kakhulu ilungelo lakho. It's your right. Uyazi ke siniphakela lona la kumamba phambili SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Lo umajali kazi khali umangcolosi ushongololo ngisaba ulibamba unhlanhla ke igama lami ungangibiza ngoAlisha. Bukeli, the dream of owning a property is a pie in the sky for many struggling consumers, particularly ngesikhathi samanje imisebenzi ayikho nezimali azikho futhi. But one of the country's biggest financial institutions is actually now coming up with ways to turn that dream into a reality. Asiza ukuthi lokhu ke mbukeli ungakwenza kanjani? Ungasithinta live on 0117146918 or 7146919. consumer@sabc.co.za is our email address. Yatholakala futhi on Facebook. Asiqhubeke nohlelo lethu mbukeli. Mbukeli ungabi nemali eyoneleke yilokho okuvimba abantu abaningi phela iphupho lokuthi nabo bakwazi ukuthi bayithengele umuzi noma imizi yabo. Kodwa ke lokhu kuthiwa sekuzoshintsha manje njengoba phela enye yezinkampani zemali la eMzansi isimema abantu ukuthi bathenge izindlu beyiningi. Independent property expert uSisidine Umolomo believes that this will assist people who actually derive income through other informal means. Ake sizwe ukuthi uthini yena.
Somebody who is an informal settlement or a shack, when they go to the bank and they say, I don't have an address, the bank doesn't understand that language. Or somebody who is a street vendor and that person says, I don't have documentation in order to record how much am I getting, because I get my money perhaps on my hand and I don't bank as much as what I receive, or I don't even have a bank account. The bank also doesn't understand that. That's why it's not as easy, and it's long overdue for us, particularly in South Africa.
Ingcala ezimele kumiba yokuthenga nokuthengisa izindlu uDine Umlomo eveza inhlalo enzima umuntu ahlangabezana nayo xa efuna ukuthenga indlu, kuba ukwazi ukuveza isiqinisekiso esithi uhola umvuzo okanye uhlala kwindawo engenadilesi ibambekayo. Amaxesha amaninzi awukwazi ukuncedakala. Uninzi lwenyenzeleke ukuba luqokelele isambuku semali ukuba ayokuhlawula ngaso. Ayinge wonke ubani ohleli nentywanga yemali kwakhe. Mali elindele ithuba lokuba kuthengwe loo mpahla umuntu ayifunayo ngelo xesha. Ibhanka ithi ingene kweso sithuba. Ngoku umuntu uzawukwazi ukudibanisa imali nabanye khona ukuze akwazi ukufikelela kwiphupha lakhe. Khawube nombono lo madlana umuntu ayenza kwishishinana lakhe ingamnika amandla okuthenga indlu yakhe ebhongo ngexesha nje elifutshane. UDine Umlomo uthi noxa izindawo zimyoli kufuneka uvule amehlo kuba impixano ngemali enokuthi ivele yaphelisa ubuhlobo.
I would say people, most important, they need to know the people that they're clubbing together with, especially when it's a small group of that 12. And as you know, most of the time, xaqala izidokfela siqala ngabantu esibaziyo. Izabandim ibe nguwe sithi sonke sidibene siyazana and sizakhupha imali ngoba uba omnye wabo khange afike okanye khange ayikhuphe imali okanye umkile nemali siyamazi basayomfumana phi. So the first advice would be to say it would be advisable, if it's going to be the number of 12, that first and foremost you know one another, so that there is accountability amongst all of you, and the fact that you also trust one another, because money is something that's quite sensitive, as we know, from families to friends, even to business partners.
Ingaba ibhanka iza kufuna ntoni ukuze ukwazi ukuncedakala? Kuya kuthiwa ukuba elinye ilungu lelo qela liyarhoxa okanye liphelelwe ngumsebenzi. Mbukeli zivele kwabo banenkcukacha ethe vetshe. Vuyisile Mdoda, ilungelo lakho.
Mbukela isithemba ukuthi uzwile ke lapho manje ukhuluma kabanzi phela ngohlelo olusha olungakusiza ukuthi nawe ukwazi ukuthenga umuzi othi wena. Asamukela uDr. Simphiwe Madikizela obuya kwa First National Bank. Sinayo no Mr. Mayor Deval yena ke ungummeli. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to both of you. Mr. Deval, let's start with you. Welcome to Yilungelo Lakho.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here.
Thank you so much. Dr. Madikizela sakwamukela baba from FNB.
Siyabonga kakhulu babukeli ngelithuba silifumanayo FNB. Inkosi.
All right. Siyabulela Tata. Mr. Mayor, let's start with you. I mean, we saw reports, I think, in the preceding years, there was a property stockful scam that was reported. Do you think that such a scheme is akin to such, or we can say it is totally exempt from being such a scam?
Well, a property stockpile is completely a structure on its own. What FNB is bringing forward here is obviously a collective purchase power. So a stockpile has always been people trying to put money together and then they put together for a particular aim. If an aim is to buy a property, this is very close to what FNB is doing here, where a lot of people group their income. They obviously need to go through all the credit checks and affordability checks, and then they can purchase a property together. So the stockpile concept is very parallel to running a product or concept like this, and I really thought FNB coming forward with a collective purchase power, because that just enables more buyers to actually own their own home.
All right. Dr. Madikizela, wena uthini tata lapho uthi intoni le inspired this collective type of buying amongst abantu? Is it because abantu abanayo imali yokuba bathenga izindlu ayi-1 okanye yintoni nina according to FNB eni-identifyile ukuba now we can actually allow abantu to purchase beyi-group a house?
Siyabela kakhulu ngelithuba. Le program kudala sinayo le kuthiwa yi-collective buying. Apho abantu bakwazi uthenga khona. Cha ke ibi program ebesiyipapasha kakhulu kodwa ayintshanga yona. So siyavuya ngoku into yobana abantu banethuba. Abantu bangathenga belishumeli 12 abantu up to 12 maximum yabantu. Uqheleke into yobana umuntu athenge yedwa okanye bebabini ubuninzi. Kodwa ngoku bayakwazi ukuthenga benani kuyoma kwishumi elisibini 12 people iproperty eyi-1 bakwazi ukuthenga. So lithuba elihle kakhulu eli silivule abantu bakwazi bafumane izindlu babe ngabanini bezindlu zabo, bakwazi ukuxhamla, bakwazi baqualifye for izindlu ngokulula, bancedisane belusapho bezintsapho naxa mhlambi bezitshomi okanye bezikholiki besebenza bonke.
But now, Mr. Duval, I want to know this. What kind of person is this option best suited for? Because I heard you earlier on talking, I mean, we saw in the insert rather, our expert there was talking about the fact that those people that enter into this agreement need to first of all trust each other, because when it comes to money matters, then, you know, it's a sensitive issue.
Absolutely. It is not available to juristic people like a company or a trust. So it must be private individual people that purchase a property together. So what one must always remember that if you apply for property finance, you first look at the status of a person. Now the status means, how are you married? Are you married in community of property, out of community of property? Are you unmarried? Are you married according to traditional laws? Or are you maybe through any other type of rule that regulates your marriage? Because if 5 people or 10 people apply for a home loan, you may want to bring in your spouse as well. And you need to bring this partner. And so because it's a joint ownership, you have to be very selective with your partners that come into this investment. You need to look at everybody's credit score. You need to look at everybody's affordability. And then you probably need to look at how will we put the transaction together. Who will live in the property? What will we do one day when you want to sell the property? And that is quite a lot of legal aspects that one needs to consider. I see FNB's got a concept also to provide a free will, which is fantastic, because we must all also face the fact that somebody can die perhaps, and what will then happen to your side of a property. I heard the previous, when the introduction was made, one of the comments were made that people trade informally. Yes. And how will they be able to prove income? And maybe Dr. Madikizela can assist us there to guide us how informal people and informal traders, which are basically entrepreneurs, how do they prove income? Do they bring in other people that maybe does have a payslip, as we call it, to prove income? Because obviously it's still a problem for a person that's self-employed,
yes,
and that do not have the required documents by a bank. How do we actually convince a bank that I earn a regular income and I'm worthy to get a home loan? So those are all concepts and understandings we have to understand before we can qualify for a home loan.
Thank you for raising that question, Mr. Duval. It's my job to ask the relevant questions, but thank you. We'll just hand it over to the doctor because I was literally coming to that question. And something very important, Mr. Duval, there would be, who then, like, how do you even decide who's then going to stay in that property? I mean, isn't as in Jalo, I'm sure they're going to cause abantu bana balwe. So, awusicela uba le project here nisebenza kanjani to also ensure ukuthi labantu laba that need to come and prove ilokuzana income basebenza kanjani nina beza kanjani bazoyiprove, particularly the informal traders as well.
Yes. No, siyabonga kakhulu ngombuzo wakho. So okubalulekileyo apha into ubana abantu kufanele bazane njengoba sitshilo into ubana kufanele ibe ngabantu abazakwazi uthembana. Masenze umzekelo mhlawumbe abantu bangakwazi uthenga ikhaya i-family home kusho. So ingakwazi uba mhlawumbe bengabazali badibane nabantwana babo abazanayo bathenga ikhaya labo. So ngabantu abazanayo ngabantu abanobudlelwane abazanayo bangakwazi ukubana bathenge kule collective buying i-family home umzekelo. Kanti nechomi ichomi mhlawumbe zingadibana friends kodwa kufuneka.
All right, we seem to have lost Dr. Madikizela there. We are trying to reconnect with him. You know, we're back to technology, guys, so nizostolela as we try and navigate through the show. 011-714-6918, alternatively 714-6919, consumer@sabc.co.za. Wena ungenza njani mbukeli uma ungenayo i-capital noma imali ibhenki lingak-approve ukuthi uthole indlu yakho uwedwa, ungathenga-ke kuyashiwo ukuthi nomndeni noma nabangani. Kodwa-ke lezinto izona izinto ekumele uzazi lezo. Siyabuya emva kwekhefu ngayindawo. Welcome back to Yilungelo Lakho live on Umamba Phambili SABC 1 Mzansi for show. Hleli nomangcolosi 011-714-6918, alternatively 714-6919, consumer@sabc.co.za. usithinte futhi lapha ku Facebook. Namhlanje mbukeli ngihleli no Dr. Simphiwe Madikizela obuya eFNB alongside ummeli ubaba uMayor Duval. We're trying to reestablish video connection with both of them, but nginayo Dr. Simphiwe on the line. Sikhuluma mbukeli ngokuthi uma ni group nina yabantu nifuna ukuthenga umuzi, uFNB usenomkhakha omusha ke manje la nikwazi ukuthi nihlanganise imali nithenge indlu as a collective. Kodwa ke sidinga lo daba lokuthi mesekuliwa iziphi incwadi edingakalayo ukuze phela niqualify for lezinto. Dr. Madikizela, masiqhubeke nsizwa, we were talking about the nitty-gritties okuba how do these people then decide ukuthi umuntu ubani ozohlala kwi property, and also who's responsible for ama levies, izinto ezinjalo, and also in case njengoba beseshiya ubaba uDeval ukuthi what if one of them wants to opt out of this agreement mhlambe after 2 or 3 years, or maybe kushone oyi-one, or some unforeseen circumstances happen ukuthi umuntu they can no longer honor that agreement. Does then the bank have any cushioning for all those that are involved in this collective buying?
Asibulele kakhulu ngombuzo wakho, siyicacise lento bezisatsho ke into bana sineke ibe ngabantu abazanayo abathengayo apha abathembeneyo. Isenza umzekelo into bana ifamily ingathenga iyodwa ifamily, abazali badibana nabantwana, kungenjalo nabantu abazithomo okanye abangabahlobo bazi-friends bangakwazi udibana bathenge. Sivumela abantu abangeshumi siyoma ku-12 up to 12 people. Xa ndiphendula ngokubanzi imibuzo yakho, into ebalulekileyo into bana bathethe abantu bavane bonke no abangaphi na, njengoba siqhele into bana iba ngumuntu oyi-one othenga indlu umuntu omnye okanye baba babini abantu ngokwesiqhelo i-joint applicants. Ngoku inani liyenyuka uyoma phaa kwi-12 ku-12 i-maximum, bangangaphansi ko-12. So funeka bathethe abantu bavane. Into ebalulekileyo into bana funeke bavule i-account eyi-one yaphaya kwi-FNB, i-normal account, i-account enjenge-check account okanye i-savings account okanye i-transactional account, yaqonda. le account yiyo kuzawutsalwa kuyo i-installment, monthly installment. Masenze umzekelo mhlambi sithi i-installment nenze umzekelo masithi 10,000 ngenyanga. So kubalulekile into yobana uba ngaba yi-first ka-December umzekelo, every first of the month installment iyatsala. Funeka baqiniseke into yobana kukho imali eyaneleyo kulaa account, bona bacontribute phaa kulaa account. Ukuphendula umbuzo wakho uba xa ngaba mhlawumbi umntu esweleka kwenzeka ntoni na, uyakwazi into yobana umntu angareplacewa ngomnye, uyaqonda? Okanye if ufuna ukuphuma noba kaswelekanga angareplacewa ngomnye. Into ebalulekileyo nje into yobana funeka laa installment, laa mali yanele ngalaa first, i-debit order ikwazi ukuphuma. So kukhona i-flexibility kwi-contract, kwi-agreement, isivumelwano esibasisayinayo nebhanki.
So,
so let
me understand this. Sorry, sorry, let me just get this straight. So, bavula i-account A1 where zonke i-contributions zabo as noma be-5 or be-12, they come into that particular account. So, it's not like udebita uMajali, udebite uGeorge, udebite anybody else. It's one collective account with those with the members' names.
Kunjalo.
Okay, okay, you can go ahead.
Kuba indlu i-1 izaba indlu eyi-1 bazayithenga, right?
Okay.
Then the account E1.
All right.
Then bazawufaka imali kule account A1, kufaka i-debit order A1 from i-account enye qho. Cha kufuneka badibane bavane, masithi umzekelo mhlambi omnye wamkela nge-15 yenyanga, 15 uzawufaka imali kule account nge-15, omnye wamkela mhlambi nge-20 afake imali kule account. Uba omnye wamkela nge-25 ayongxaki, uzawufaka imali kule account. Uba omnye wamkela nge-30 okanye nge-31 afake imali kule account. But nge-first ke ngoku apho i-debit order funeka iphumile khona, kubalulekile into yobana kube khona enough funds, kubekho imali eyaneleyo kule account, kutsalwe i-debit order enzela uba ihambe kakuhle le nto.
Okay, Mr. Duval, I mean, all this sounds interesting when you think about it, I mean, in the long term, the benefits. But, I mean, isn't this then going to cause huge administrative nightmares for the bank itself? Firstly, making sure that the members' credit scores are of qualifying rate, the proof of income, and so forth? Mr. Duval?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Did you hear that? I'm saying this surely sounds like, it sounds like a great plan if you're thinking about the long-term benefits. I mean, somebody's going to receive a house, but isn't this going to cause major administrative nightmares for the bank in assuring that the credit scores are okay, or if a certain member wants to pull out basically in the middle of a scheme or somebody passes away, as we had mentioned earlier?
Well, FNB has been the champions in home loans for many, many years. So obviously they understand how to obtain the credit score of an applicant. They understand how to work through the income of an applicant. And obviously for them it's just a few more clients to add to the database. It may take a little bit longer time because obviously one needs to collect a lot more documents. But I'm pretty sure that once the end result is there, that the purchaser will be able to take charge of the property. So I think one needs to look at this from a practical point of view, and you need to assist to guide the clients how to go about, because normally a home loan can be approved maybe within 10 to 14 days. This may require a little bit more time to get the bond approved. So I would recommend that estate agents get training and bond originators get training how to actually go about. And then obviously there's also, once you bring in everybody to sign the documents, that's a little bit more administration. But once the transaction is going, I think that obviously then you sign a debit order, and from a debit order you move on. Definitely from my side, from a legal perspective, I always look at what can go wrong, and therefore you need to look at debt. You need to look at if somebody gets divorced, what will we do? Also, if somebody applies for a new home loan, then there will be a home loan lying against your name. So there's a couple of things that one needs to work through, but I'm pretty sure that FNB will give a guidance and assist people in that. And obviously, they can also consult with a legal person to assist them to draw up a type of a partnership or a shared ownership contract
if you ever want to sell the property, do you need to get all 12 people to give permission and all those things? There's a lot of things that one needs to bring in, but I still think it's a fantastic opportunity to get your foot into the door to own your own property.
And then in terms of conveyance fees, then, Mr. Duval, what would you advise those that are seeking to undertake this option? Would then, like the collective pays one conveyancer or lawyer to ensure that the relevant papers are submitted to the bank and vice versa?
Sorry, but there was a lot of background noise on the side.
All right. Yes, I'm talking about the conveyancer fees. Then that would also apply to the whole collective, or it would be just one person that is that would have to pay the conveyancer or the attorney in making sure that the relevant parties receive the relevant paperwork and ownership papers as well.
The conveyancing fees are calculated basically on the purchase price, and there's a recommended tariff. So if there's a little bit more admin involved to obtain everybody's supporting documents, then most likely, yes, there can be more work to be done. But one will most likely find that FNB will work with a particular brand of attorneys that understand these contracts and also the legalities in there, and then assist the buyers to come into the office to sign the document and explain to them all the ins and outs of that. So the conveyancing fee, I can see, will pretty much be similar. Sometimes you also get a situation where people are buying from property developers, and then all the fees are included in the purchase transaction anyway. Then the purchaser doesn't have to pay extra money for the legal bond and the registration fees.
All right. Let's leave it there for now, Mr. Duval. Mbukeli na ungathatha ucingo usifonele usibhalele. We're back shortly after this. Ungayindawo. Welcome back. Ubheke Yilungelo Lakho on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Namhlanje ke mbukeli sikhuluma ngokuthi nina eningakwazi ukuthi uhambe uye bank uyothola iloan yokuthi uthenge umuzi uyi1, ningakwenza lokhu ni group kodwa phansi kwe FNB. Sinaye ke uDr Simphiwe Madekizela, he's the head of client experience at FNB Home Finance, alongside ubaba Mayor Duval, yena ke he's a conveyancer. Sithi ke thina ummeli 0117146918 or 7146919. consumer@sabc.co.za sikhona futhi on Facebook. I think let's continue where Mr. Duval left off actually. Maybe let's understand ukuthi iziphi izinto abantu abazozidinga in that collective group of either 5 or 12 people mesebethi beza kunina, iziphi izinto ekumele beze nazo documentation wise and nje yini ekumele babe nayo in order to qualify for lesi scheme senu.
Siyabonga kakhulu ngombuzo wakho. Into ezifunekayo baziphathe ziyafana, yikopi ye-ID, isimini, isiqinisekiso somnini i-ID copy yomuntu siqala yona, ne-proof of income, i-payslip okanye salary advice. Kwakhona ke nale offer to purchase. I-offer to purchase isivumelwano osisayinayo. Xa ngaba ndithenga indlu kuwe, wena uzawutsho ubana uthengisela le ndlu mna ndisayine nawe usayine i-offer to purchase leyo yiyo efunekayo. Zeza documents zifanayo naxa uthenga indlu wedwa naxa nibabini ziyafana i-documents. Ne-proof of address ke siye siyicele for ifika uverifya into yobana nguwe lo mntu sithetha naye. Nesiqinisekiso sebhanki, i-bank account ke njengoba besenditshilo ezawufuneka. Uba ubhankisha nathi i-FNB akho mfuneko ye-bank statements, kodwa uba ngaba ubhanka nenye ibhank engeyo-FNB sizawucela i-statement se-3 months. Uba ngaba mhlawumbe ubhanka ne-ABSA okanye National Bank okanye ne-bank or Capitec sizawucela i-3 months bank statement, kodwa xa ngaba ubhanka ne-FNB akho mfuneko ye-3 months bank statement. Zizo qha ke ii-documents ezifunekayo, ayizonto ezininzi esizifunayo. Sicela nje i-ID ne-proof of income, i-payslip kunye ne-offer to purchase. okugqibela ke ne-proof of address isiqinisekiso sendawo ohlala kuyo proof of address.
And then, Gqirha, in all these documents, go proof of income, nanton, what if you come across one, mhlampe defaultile or i-credit score yakhe or akamanga kahle kwi-credit in terms of inansika zakhe, ukubhatala back amatyala akhe, what then happens to that one individual? Let's say naba bafikile by group, but they want to undertake kulesi scheme bathenge umzi, but or maybe one or two akekho mhle in terms of ama-record akhe.
Into advantage apha encedayo into bana kuba bebanintsi abantu sizawukwazi into bana si-process i-application le sikwazi uba si-approve i-application for as long as laa mntu izawukwazi ucontributa qha yena isabelo sakhe masithi mhlawumbi yi-10,000 efunekayo ngenyanga yaqonda.
Yes.
Uba ngaba mhlawumbi masithi bayi-10 ukwenzela umzekelo masithi umuntu oyi-1 ukhupha i-1,000 iwaka umntu ngamnye masithi bayi-10 akho ngxaki yena uzawufaka i-1,000 yakhe kulaa account eyi-1 bayivulileyo ikwazi uba i-installment i-repayment ikwazi uba ibhataleke indlu akho ngxaki. Siyakwazi into yobana sim-accommodate umntu xa ngaba mhlawumbi kukhona ingxaki with i-profile yakhe. Nantso i-advantage yento yobana bethenga bebaninzi kanti nalaa flisp sidla ngothetha ngayo laa subsidy ye-government nayo siyakwazi into yobana siyisebenzise ibe yi-1 ibe nye kuba indlu izawubanye ne-subsidy ibe nye xa ngabe ekhona umntu apha kubo owamkela phaa between la 3,501 up to 22,000 income ngenyanga siyakwazi into yoba sasibonelelo se-flisp naso sisifake sizame uncedisana ne-affordability kuba into encedisayo kule nto bakwazi ukukhwalifaya abantu bakwazi uba bakhwalifaye ngokulula ngoku-easy ne-subsidy sibancedise siyibhanki. Kanti enye into ebalulekileyo i-education sibafundise uba indlu nganye phambi koba siyirejistarishe phaya e-FNB siyaqinisekisa into yoba senza i-borrower education. Kubalulekile into yoba sibafundise into yobana kubalulekile uba babhatale le mali e-installment qho ngenyanga laa mali funeka iphume ngalaa first yalaa nyanga kulaa account iyi-1 bazawube beyivulile ezawuphuma kuyo i-debit order for i-repayment yale ndlu. Nanso into ebalulekileyo. So i-education it plays a very important role basibafundise bacacisele ne-contract le xa ifuna ukuphuma umntu sikwazi umcacisela uba ungakwazi ukuphuma ungakwazi ufaka omnye umntu akureplace okanye noba mhlambi uphumile wena for as long as la contribution izawukwazi uba ibe khona mhlawumbi aba bashiyekileyo abantu bangabhatala a little bit more bavala ispace salowa ngolaa hlobo yenza ngalo istokfela aqonda istokfela indlela esenza ngayo istokfela uba mhlawumbi omnye umntu uphumile bayaqinisekisa aba bashiyekileyo bayacontributa laa mali iphume imali efunekayo benza as a group because bonke ba-liable as a group towards le loan bazabe beyithathile kwibhanki.
So xa be-defaulta Gqirha, then it means all of them basetyaleni ngoku?
Xa bethengile bonke ba-obligated kule loan agreement bonke ba-obligated. So kubalulekile la education into yobana sibacacisele uba bathi bagcine installment is-up to date bangadefault. Njengayiphina i-loan iyafana nenye i-loan noba uthenge wedwa noba nithengeni babini balulekile into yobana ubhatale ningadefault yaqona. So zonke ezaa processes zilandelwa ibhanki ziya-aplya i-legislation umthetho mnye i-National Credit Act nayo iya-aplya ngokufanayo for into yobana kulandelwe yona. So ayikho nje enye into eyohlukileyo ngaphandle kuba xa ethenga umntu eyedwa okanye bebabini zonke ezaa processes ziyafana. I-document ezifunekayo ziyafana i-process elandelwayo iyafana yonke into iyafana. Umahluko yinto yobana bancedisana apha bakwazi uba baqualifye lula because income sources zininzi.
Okay.
And the affordability then improve.
All right, Siyabulela Gqirha. Mr. Deval, maybe let me come to you. I mean, would you recommend this as a viable option? And for which demographic? I mean, we know that money is hard to come by nowadays. A lot of people are unemployed and so forth. But also maybe take us through the risks, advantages as well as disadvantages of entering into such a scheme.
If you look at the demographic, I would say that every first-time buyer I even remember from my days when I was a young person, professional, started out, everybody said, how does a young person get his foot in the door, his or her foot in the door to buy a property? Because property is so expensive. Dr. Mandikizela highlighted also the benefits of a government subsidy called FLISP,
Yes.
where you can get a first-time buyer subsidy. For example, if you earn 15,000 Rand a month, you can get plus minus 63,000 Rand from the government to put down as a deposit. Now, obviously, if you put down a deposit, the bank will look at you much better and give you a better interest rate. So there are such a lot of fantastic incentives by the government to help first-time buyers. Now, as I said, the issues that can come up is obviously a lot of people are buying together. You have to have an agreement that most likely, if you are a starter first-time buyer, there will not be 10 people living in the house. So it will be a collective that everybody pools their income together, and together they can have enough affordability to convince the bank to give them a home loan. Now, with that comes also a little bit of problems, because if you maybe support your brother or your sister and you collectively put your name on that home loan, then in 5 years from now you want to buy another property. But now the bank does a credit check on your name, and they see that 5 years ago you also signed up for a credit agreement with a bank, and therefore your name lies on the credit records. And they say, but I can't give you a second bond. It also may cut you out from actually buying your own property if you are one of the collectors in that particular scheme, because you're now buying with 10 other people, and you may be only just putting your name down there to boost affordability for a brother or a sister to enable them to buy a property. So the question lies, who will live in the property? Who will decide one day when the property is sold? Who will pay the rates and taxes and all that stuff every month? So those are a couple of questions that come up to my mind. I still applaud it and think it's a fantastic incentive, because we need to stand together. The concept of people helping each other and family members helping each other to acquire your own home, because otherwise you will stay a tenant for your rest of your life, and you will never get that assistance to get your home on the property register. So, number one, I think it's a fantastic idea. Number two, just work through all the consequences of what will joint home ownership and also the joint risk and obligation of a home loan mean against your name. So those are the consequences that you've got to take into consideration. And my suggestion is definitely that you get professional assistance from an attorney that focus and specialize in this type of work, how to actually engage with all the role players that will tie themselves to the title deed and also the obligation of a home loan that's normally paid back over a 20 or a 30-year time period.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deval. Mbukeli nawe ungashayela ucingo ku 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Uyasho baba uDeval lapho ukuthi ziningi imbukeli izinto ekumele nicabange before ni-entarisha kulesi scheme, because kunezinto eziningi ezimgomela ukuthi ekumele nizazi, njengokuthi mhlambe wena masufuna ukuthi uthenge indlu yakho after a certain amount of time and ubukhona lapha kwi-group, kuzothiwa wena usekhona kwi-credit bureau ngoba usese part of lo yamzekelo lo yamhlanga loya abantu abebethenge khona be-group. Siyabuya emva kwaleli khefu ungayindawo. Welcome back to Yilungelo Lakho. 011-714-6918, alternatively 714-6919. consumer@sabc.co.za. Namhlanje ngihleli no Dr. Simphiwe Madikizela ovela e-FNB nommeli ubaba uMayor Deval. Sikhuluma ngokuthi uma nina niyi-group niwumndeni nabangani up to 12 ningayi-applyela kanjani i-bond yendlu eyi-1 ke. Sikhuluma ukuthi phela ukuze kungaxatshanwa yiziphi izinto ekumele niqale nixwayisane ngazo ukuze phela kungabe sekuliwa lapha yana sekuthiwa hey umuzi wami umuzi kabani umuzi wabani. Doctor, let's start with you, Doctor. I just want to find out very quickly. We've spoken about the documentation that people need in order to come and actually apply. What could then disqualify an application or applicants? Dr. Madikizela?
Masibulele kakhulu ubandi uvela kakhulu umbuzo wakho ufuna ukwazi ba intoni engenza aba umuntu disqualified applicant. Into engenza aba i-applicant ibe disqualified ingaba yi-poor credit conduct. xa mhlambi amatyala wakhe engawabhatali xa imali zakhe engaziphathi kakuhle kuyafana xa uapplyela noba yeyiphi na i-loan.
But what if it's only one of them, Gqirha? What if it's only one? Remember, I asked this question to a certain ukuthi, okay, let's say oyi-one mhlampe usengxakini because of tough financial times, but we are contributor. They can contribute that 1,000 rand amount kuleyo 10,000. So do you still disqualify them on the basis yokuba lo oyi-one akawabhatala amatyala and they're on i-credit bureau?
Yabona ke ngoku sizakwazi into bana xa bebaninzi beyi-group sijonge i-affordability bangaba ikhona xa i-affordability ikhona sizakwazi into bana i-application lena sikwazi uyi-approve nge-strength sabanye aba-aplya nabo xa bona mhlambe i-conduct yabo i-right, i-credit score i-right. Khumbula into bana umuntu ngamnye apha eSouth Africa une-credit report ayifumanayo e-free ngonyaka.
Yes.
Yeah, so sisebenzise ngoku credit report xa senze assessment sibone ba i-affordability khona bakwazi uqualifya na xa ngaba bekwazi uqualifya into ebalulekileyo into bana bazakwazi na ukubhatala elityala. Xa bezakwazi ukubhatala elityala siyakwazi into bana siyenze i-loan ba i-approve ikwazi ukufumanela. Kanti xa beyedwa umuntu i-credit profile yakhe ngekho right uza ngaqualify xa enabanye apha siyakwazi into bana ancedakale kuba beyi-group.
Okay, and then
okay,
and then how do you then, like, who determines uba is there anything in your agreement or in your structure that says ubani ozaba responsible for repayment rates and taxes and levies, the maintenance of the property, etc. Because besesithethile uba these the group amongst themselves yiba abanominatayo uba who's going to stay at that house. So is it the person that stays at the house that is ultimately responsible for repayment yama rates and taxes and levies, okanye nalezi zinto you also factor them into the agreement?
Yeah, no kunjalo bakuzafuneka bathethe bavumelane bona lo uzawuhlala ngaphakathi endlini ibe nguye ozawuthi abhatale i-rates and taxes. Kodwa kuba indlu iyabo bonke bangancedisana ngako oko bacontribute imali for babhatale i-rates and taxes. So banganominate umuntu bathi ba okay kule group yethu uSimphiwe Madikizela nguye ozaba i-key contact person ohlala la endlini. I-address yalapha endlini i-letter ze-rates and taxes fikela la endlini kuyo that to make sure bakuyabhatalwa everything if mhlawumbe nebengincedisile bangincedise through contribution nokumaintaina indlu upkeep yendlu kubalulekile into yobana sincedisane indlu ihlale i-well maintained so that i-value yayo indlu ingehli naxa ngaba indlu sifuna uyithengisa singakwazi uvumelana ukuthi masiyithengise indlu sohlulelana ngemali zonke ezo zinto ezo ziyakwazi ukwenzeka. Kanti mhlambi if abanye bafuna ukubuy out abanye mhlambi bafuna ubuy out iyakwazi ukwenzeka buy out as well into bana abanye abantu babefuna ukuphuma kwi-contract bangaphuma. Masithi mhlambi umuntu bebethenge i-family home bese siblings omnye mhlambi ufuna utshata ngoku bangakwazi uthetha into bana aphume ku-agreement lona angabikho responsible anymore so all those things can be done, but kula education indithetha ngayo i-borrower education kubalulekile into yobana zidiscusswe zonke ezinto kuthethwe ngazo sijonge zonke ezi scenarios uba xa umuntu esitoleka kwenzeka ntoni funeka kubekho insurance that's gonna pay yabona i-home owners cover ezacoverisha indlu against fire mhlawumbi nento ezinjengegiza lapha endlini xa igiza ibhestile imoshakele la home owners cover insurance ikwazi ukubhatala zonke lezi zinto kuthethwa ngazo kwi-borrower education. So kubalulekile into yobana abantu ba-understande ihamba njani le nto i-agreement ithini i-responsibilities zabo zithini ngubani noxanduva lokwenza ntoni kuthethwe ezinto bavana abantu bacacelwe bayazi basayine into abayiqondayo bangarashi benga-understandanga. So i-education borrowers education, consumer education, i-financial literacy, i-budgeting zonke lezi zinto zibalulekile ukuthi kuthethwe ngazo bazazi abantu baziqonde beforehand before basayine i-agreement bayazi implications xa kuxatyanwa kumele kuthini ba-resolve i-issues. That's why funeke uthenge indlu nabantu abaziyo nabantu abathembileyo abatrustleyo abanye bakujikela.
But Gqirha, we know relationships over time, they can erode, ziyashintsha. So is there
Yes.
any mechanism, is there any dispute resolution management that you do have as part of the agreement that xa bethi bayathatha inantsika this loan as a collective, uba there's something binding for them to say, you know what, just to ensure uba you minimize a risk, particularly as the lender, is there anything that speaks to that?
Yes. No, definitely. I see what's back online now, connected as well. Yes, no, definitely. Zonke ezinto zikhona i-dispute resolution
Okay.
coverage agreement.
All right, masithethe ngayo emva kwekhefu mbukeli 011-714-6918 or 714-6919 consumer@sabc.co.za. Siyabuya emva kwekhefu. Welcome back. It is our final segment. In Sahleli no Dr. Simphiwe Madikizela we FNB alongside an attorney, a conveyancer, Mr. Mayor Duval, usjoina ke yena online. Nangu Gqirha is back online. Sasi digital, si online ngoku Gqirha. Masithethe man, we were continuing ngalento ba is there any dispute resolution enayo as part of the agreement so that if any need arises uba ama relationships are eroded, siyazazi man sabantu, anything can happen. We cannot guarantee uba for 25 years the relationship we had now is still the same. So ninayo into enjalo manager i-risk kunina as a lender uba you also don't lose, as well as the other people that are part of the agreement uba they are also protected.
Kunjalo kakhulu ndiyabulela ngombuzo wakho. Kubalulekile kakhulu into ibuzayo. Zizinto esizichaphazelayo ezi ziyafakwa kwi-agreement kuba ngaba kwenzeka ntoni na njenganayiphi na agreement ekhoyo okanye isivumelwano esikhoyo esisayinwayo esimbophelelayo umuntu iba khona i-exit clause, kuba khona into yobana xa kukho i-dispute kuxatyanwa ilungiswa njani lento. Singabantu abafuna into yobana sibancede abantu, so i-borrower education siyayenza, sibafundisa abantu. I-consumer education siyayenza, singene ngokubanzi, sigxile ngokunzulu into yobana kuzakwenzeka ntoni xa ngaba kwenzeka imeko njengale. Xa ngaba umuntu esweleka kwenzeka ntoni, yile nto kufuneka kube khona i-insurance, i-life cover umzekelo. Xa ngaba indlu isitsha kwenzeka ntoni, xa ngaba igiza igqabhuka kwenzeka ntoni, yile nto kukhona i-home owners cover, i-HOC ngamanye amagama. Law insurance yenzela ezo zinto. Nento zobana kuba khona i-rates and taxes ezibhatalwayo kumasipala xa ngaba umuntu enendlu. So xa umuntu ebudget kubalulekile into yobana angajongi installment yendlu yodwa, ajonge i-upkeep yendlu, i-maintenance yendlu, ayazi into yobana zikhona ezinye indleko, zikhona ezinye i-costs. So siyazichaphazela zonke izinto kwi-agreement, ziyafakwa phaa, ziyabhalwa nakwi-borrower education yethu senza ngobunzulu.
I'm happy to hear that, Gqirha. Let's find out if Mr. Duval can also give us some input there. Mr. Duval, I understand you back with us on video. I just want to find out from you, I mean, since we were talking about risks and any legal hurdles that should be anticipated, let's talk about the title deed then. Who gets the title deed? Is it the person that stays in the house in this case? What if the other one will come back then at a later stage to dispute the fact that the person that has now the title deed is the one that was awarded the deed?
Very good question. When you register the property in the deeds office on the name, let's say of a collective 12 new homeowners,
yes,
and the bank FNB extends a home loan over to grant the loan, the FNB will register a mortgage bond over the property. So there are actually two documents. One is your title deed, and the other one is the mortgage bond.
Okay.
And in exchange for the funds that the bank advanced and the security of a mortgage bond, FNB will retain the title deed in the security until the bond is fully paid up. So if a client ever wants to sell property, they have to contact FNB and tell them that they are selling the property or they have enough money now to settle the full bond. And FNB will then give them a cancellation figure, and they'll have to arrange a guarantee, or maybe the bond is fully paid up then. Once the bond is cancelled or fully paid up, they will then ask FNB to instruct the attorneys to go to the deeds office and cancel the actual bond in the deeds office. Once the bond document and the title deed gets back from the bank, then FNB or the attorneys will contact the client and say, I've got good news for you. Your title deed is now available and you can keep it in safe custody. So the title deed stays with the bank as the security for the duration of a home loan.
Thank you, Mr. Deval. That question was giving me palpitations and headaches there. We do have Lufuno on the line. Lufuno, thank you so much for joining us. Singakusiza kanjani today? Ube fast, very fast, siswam.
Yes, no, it's fine. Thank you very much. Yes.
Hi, Lufuno. Go ahead.
Okay. I just want to ask something quickly here.
Yes.
In most cases, when there are opportunities like this, the branches are not really much aware of such initiatives.
Yes.
And I just want to ask Dr. Naguti, how knowledgeable are the branches about things like this? And the second question that I would like to ask is it being extended to around the AMA farms? Let's say maybe as a family and as brothers, we would like to purchase a farm, but on an individual basis we cannot.
Okay.
Can we use this as an opportunity to be able to buy the farm?
Lufuno ngizokushada when are you thinking strategically? Ufuna uthenga ne-farm. Doctor, there is your question there. First one, are branches privy to this information? And secondly, can they buy a farm as a collective?
Yes, FNB ingakunceda uthenga ifarm as a collective, but leyo ipolisha under a division different, agribusiness FNB. So sina section agriculture edilishana nefarmer, siyabanceda abantu ukuthenga ifarm ne-implement, but ayikho kule program ye-housing.
Okay.
Paka FNB siyakwazi unceda, but kwenye divisions nakureferisha agribusiness.
All right. And then in terms of branches having knowledge of what we're talking about, where's your education drive, Gqirha? Can people just walk in and get this information, demand this information? Bathetha nobani FNB?
I-branches zethu zonke le information siyayazi. Le program silaunchile ngba inyanga yesithathu ngoku si-relauncha. Njengoba nditshilo kwasekuqaleni ba ayikho nje ncam idala sinayo. So bangaya nawo kuyiphi branch ye-FNB bazawufika saziwa le information. Bangaya naku-contact center yethu, bangafonela naku-website yethu, nakwi-app, i-FNB app, information ikhona. But nakuthiwa yi-NEV home phaya, banga-applya phaya.
Siyabulela Gqirha. Thank you so much, Gqirha. Ube ne lovely festive season, Mr. Deval. Thank you so much, sir, for your input as well. Wishing you a safe and, of course, lovely festive season. Mbugeli, unfortunately, that is where we've come to the end of our show today. Thank you so much for all your contributions. Siyabulela ngazo zonke izinto, ama-emails, ama-Facebook messages. Even though I didn't get to look at those ama-lokhuzana today, we were struggling in terms of technology. But Mbugeli Kaya, thank you so much for joining us. Do join us next week for another live consumer affairs discussion. Khona la ku SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Okangcolo sumntana usiyazini nisale kahle emakhaya.